Hello, welcome to my video. My name is Riley, and today I want to talk about the subject of passing and what that means in the context of the transgender community. Now, this video is not entirely self-motivated. I am making it as part of the Pass It On campaign, which was launched earlier this month by this lovely lady, Eva. It's supported by Unite UK, and the campaign is about raising awareness and generating a discussion about the subject of passing in the trans community and the issues that raises. Make sure you check them out. So, in case you're watching this and you are unaware of what the word passing means in the context of transgender people, allow me to explain. So a transgender person who passes is someone who would be regarded by strangers as being cisgender, i.e. not a trans person. So there's nothing about them which gives anyone a clue that they are trans or that they have transitioned. It might just be that they're very far along in their transition. They could naturally be very androgynous, or they might just be really good with makeup. There's a lot of different things which can contribute towards this. Now, passing is viewed by many people, trans or otherwise, as a sort of end goal. In the typical narrative of a transgender person, once they have achieved it, they have completed their transition and they can integrate into society, and that's the end of it. Their transition may always be a big part of them, but at some point it becomes their history rather than their present, in theory. But this is where passing as an expectation for transgender people becomes an issue, for one big reason. Passing is a beauty standard, not a requirement of being a good trans person, although it's often perceived to be one. And therein lies the problem. Now, there might be people watching this saying, well, that makes sense. If you're a transgender woman, for example, then you should be required to talk and act and look a certain way if you want access to women's spaces, for example, like bathrooms. And the same for trans men as well, in men's spaces. Surely that makes perfect sense, right? And this is where passing becomes a subjective issue, because who decides what is passing and what is not? Who defines what is masculine and what is feminine? And who defines what level of masculinity or femininity you need to achieve in order to be recognized as who you are? The fact is, there is no measurement for this. It's based on each individual. Passing to me might mean something very different compared to passing to you, or a local person on the street, or your local legislator. It's all based on opinion. Now, transgender people may be particularly prone to attacks from this angle, because transitioned people, no matter how far along they may be in the process, can often have bodies which are a bit different from their cisgender peers. A lot of transgender women, for example, may be a bit taller than many cis people. They may have deeper voices. They may have broader shoulders. Transgender men may often be shorter than most men. They may have wider hips or higher voices. And when we think about non-binary identities and how they play into the concept of passing and people's perceptions, it gets even more complicated. And it's not even just trans people who are victims of this passing expectation. There are cisgender people who have been victims as well. In the last few years of anti-trans hysteria in the media, especially in the US and the UK, you may have come across headlines like this: "Woman mistaken for transgender, harassed in Walmart bathroom. Self-appointed bathroom cop catches Dallas woman using women's restroom. Lesbian made to leave toilet after police refuse to believe she is a woman." These are all instances of cisgender people being harassed and being victimized because they had some physical trait that was commonly associated with, in these cases, a transgender woman who's not passing enough. In all these instances, it was a matter of short hair or androgynous clothing. And I don't know about you, but speaking anecdotally, I've certainly had friends who've experienced this very same thing. Again, often due to having short hair or long hair, or the type of clothes they were wearing at the time. And there was this unjustified backlash from people who misidentified them, like it even mattered. And I think this all serves as a good example as to why trying to use passing as a measurement just doesn't work. It's too vague, it's too subjective. And when you try to apply it to a whole society, it's not even just trans people who fall victim to it. It's my view that treating passing as an expectation for transgender people generally does more harm than good. And I don't just mean that from a societal perspective, I mean that from the perspective of a transgender person as well. I am a trans person myself, and I know how difficult it is to deal with these impossible beauty standards and how much it can hold you back and prevent you from living your life. Hormones are magic, they really are, but they can only change so much about your body. The same goes for surgeries as well, if you can get hold of them, which of course many people can't for various reasons. And even with all those hormones and all those surgeries, the mental gymnastics you can still play to tell yourself you're not good enough, it's horrific. And it's very reminiscent of a problem that many of us share, where we see attractive people in magazines and on TV, and we punish ourselves for not looking more like them, even if achieving a body like them is physically impossible for us. Trans people already have enough to deal with without having to try and achieve this level of spot-on perfection just so they can feel comfortable going into a public bathroom. But that is why we need to have this conversation as a community. It's a social contract that affects all of us. And people outside the transgender community need to be aware that passing really is a privilege, and it's not necessarily attainable for all trans people for various reasons. And so making judgments or placing stigmas or basing policy decisions on transgender people's ability to pass is really unnecessarily exclusionary for a lot of people. It alienates trans people and even some cis people who don't have bodies which conform to the normal expectations of gender in our society, and I think that's something we need to address. Personally, speaking from a very Western perspective, I think diverse gender expression is becoming more normal, not just for trans people, but for cis people as well, and that's good. But society still has a fair amount of time to go before it ends its love affair with gender roles and expectations. And maybe eventually, when that happens, things like passing will become more redundant. But until then, we just got to keep talking about it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I appreciate it greatly. Please check out the Pass It On campaign. I'll link that in the description below. I also have links down there and on screen to my Instagram and Twitter, where I am active frequently. I am planning to make more videos on this channel, albeit probably with a less serious tone than this one. So if that is something you'd be interested in, please subscribe and show the video a little love by giving it a thumbs up. I didn't talk in this video particularly about non-binary identities. As someone who isn't non-binary, I didn't feel it was my place. But if you are non-binary and you want to make a video similar to this one, please go ahead. I'd love to see it. And if you let me know, I will link that in the description of this video as well. Thank you so much again for watching. This is the first vlog type video that I've ever made, and it's the first time I've been in front of a camera since I've transitioned as well. So as basic as this video is, it's a really big deal for me. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and take care.